I'm really hating this discourse about Penelope begging Colin to kiss her, when actually, if you think about the historical context, it makes complete sense. The Regency era was such an awful time to be a woman. And to be honest, like, even if you were in the upper class or in the peerage system, you still were feeling the brunt of being wealthy, but not having the access or freedom of wealth, especially if you were a woman. Someone like Penelope, she's plus size. She has no real family wealth. She's also living under a family scandal. She has no surviving male relatives that are going to be kind and make sure she has a living. And her sisters are terrible people, and she'll have to live off of the kindness of her sisters, because once her sisters do have a son, well, we don't, obviously we don't know what's going to happen with that whole thing. But if we assume, based on how she feels in that moment, that her sisters are going to have a son, and they are going to, either one of them is going to inherit the wealth of that family, she is going to literally have to be living off of their kindness until the day she dies. And that's if they actually want to be generous to her. There are so many cases of women becoming governesses or just becoming homeless because they have no surviving family members or no one who's going to actually look after them financially. So if we're thinking about someone who's seen as very undesirable, not just because of their body, but because of the scandal, the lack of money and finances and security, we understand what her mother is saying about how security is sexy, security is romantic. So if we're looking at it from that lens, it makes complete sense that she would be looking at a long life filled with loneliness, perhaps poverty. We don't know how her life is actually going to end up. And this is probably someone who's touched scarves. She's probably seen so many of her friends get married at this point. She is at the beginning of spinsterhood. So her asking for a kiss makes complete sense. And honestly, this is why I have an issue with modernizing period dramas sometimes, because some people like to impose their modern standards onto a period drama. Like, at this point, they didn't even have the suffragettes. The suffragettes did not exist until way into the 1860s. A lot of working class men weren't having their vote either. And honestly, history, is it still compulsory? Because